thinking about the momentum, the momentum of life. And that can feel like it goes fast and goes slow at times. We can also call it the ups and downs. And I got to thinking, it's like I wonder, like I noticed, like I'm not aware of it. But are they like seasons, like longer horizons of time that show up on a cycle?
Yeah, remind me like I always watch this little cartoon. It's about a rabbit and a turtle. And then like the rabbit is extremely fast, right? Obviously. And the turtle is just like one step at a time. And kind of like the song goes like, so the rabbit is like laughing at the turtle that he's never gonna win the race. And the turtle was like, no, I want to race. And he's like, oh my God, like you're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. And then so he agreed like to start the race. So the race started like the rabbit goes like crazy fast. And then like he's so ahead that like he decides to take a snooze. And the turtle is just like going like one step at a time, consistent. And then when she's just about to pass like the rabbit, she just go very, very like slowly and not making any noise. And then she's just about to the finish line, and like the rabbit wakes up and he's just like, oh my God, I can't believe like, I snoozed that long. So I gotta finish the race. And then like he speeds up, and then just right at the end, like the turtle just like crossed the line just a little bit before. And I like that because it's like no matter how fast you are, as long as you're consistent,
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna reach your goal. No matter the adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when you talk about fast and slow and ups and downs, that's what reminds me.
I think of that as there's at times with the rabbit, there's times with the turtle.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, another thing that reminds me, like I'm learning about communication, and and I said like I'm very sensitive, and I thought I was very sensitive to the voice when I'm listening to a podcast, but it's not the voice itself that really kind of annoy me or like make me fall asleep. It's like, it's just, there's no melody in it. So there's no up and down, fast and slow.
Mm.
And like, he said the rule of thumb is like, if you have something important to say, you slow down. But if you want to just like go through stuff, then you go fast. Because he had this example, and he was just talking like extremely fast, and he's such an amazing communicator. And he was just like, right, like nonstop. And then like he's like, oh, so what did you get up in there, right? And you get nothing, right? But as soon as like you play with the rhythm of your voice, because he had this, like, he had a webinar, and then like he goes like, he was asking questions. And it's interesting because in the Zoom call, like, well, I don't know everybody, but so many people had it right. Like he was asking question about his life and this and that, and everybody remembered, like including me. And I thought it was really interesting, but like he plays so much with his voice that like as soon as like he's got something important to say, he slows down, you know? And it goes with like the pitch as well, right? Like higher, lower, everything. So yeah, and he also talked about confidence. And the story goes like this, like in kind of high school, like he wasn't very popular, right? And couldn't talk to girls, couldn't have many friends, but he had one friend, and like they went for a school trip or something, and nobody wanted to stay with these two, even though like it was like, I think group of four. So he was like, whatever, we'll just leave the two of us. It's fine, we're the two loser kind of thing, right? And both were really shy. And that night, well, his friend had like a ukulele, right? Like an instrument. And then he started playing that. And then like he had like people gather around him. And then like he started talking to girls. He started like, conversing with other people and stuff. And then like Vin was like, oh my God, what a jerk, you know? Oh no, because like they made a pact together. They were like, oh, we're just gonna be loser all for the rest of our life. We're not gonna have a girlfriend, blah 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 blah. Right? So like they kind of like swear on that. And that night, like Vin was like, oh, he's gonna be picking up a girl, blah blah blah. Like I can't believe like, he left me alone and this and that. And the next morning, he's sitting at a table, at the camp by himself, like the other guy. And Vin was like, this is kind of weird because like, I thought like he was so popular last night, with girls and like other friends and whatnot. And like, why he's sitting by himself? And then like it didn't like really cross his mind until like probably like 5 years later that he was only confident when like he had, something he knew, like an instrument, whatever. Like when you're good at something, you get a lot of confidence. And it was the same thing with Vin. Vin, like, after like he kind of realized that, like he was bringing like a deck of cards, like he's the magician versus like highly skilled communicator, and he was always bringing his deck of cards, and so he brought this deck of cards like every day, and then like he was so confident, like he was able to talk to girls and all that. But one morning he forgot his deck of cards, and then like it just like crushed him. He was like, I don't know what to do. Like I can't do tricks. I can't do things. Like I cannot talk to girls. Da 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 da. So he needed this thing, like this deck of cards. And so from that point on, like he was like, I gotta improve what's always gonna stay with me. It's like I cannot never leave my voice at home, right? It's impossible. So he started working on his voice, and he become like highly skilled communicator, and now like talking in front of like 40,000 people and stuff like that. So
Interesting. Our voice is the most evident example, not example, yeah, example, or anyway, what I was trying to say was it demonstrates our resonance, demonstrates a part of our resonance.
hello, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm on the road. You want me to give you a call back, or you want to? Oh, I can pull over and like if you stay on the line, like I.
there's definitely a craft in being heard effectively
Mm.
and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine putting the two together, or maybe the two require each other. Meaning, if you learn one, you can learn the other one because it is a focused intention.
Mm-hmm.
Or another word, aware of.
Sorry about that, guys. Workation, right?
Got it taken care of, huh?
Mm.
Jesse was saying that there's a craft in communicating so that you are heard, and there's also an equal craft in listening,
Mm.
and the one requires the other.
Yeah.
In our society that just talks to us.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like the breath, right? In and out.
Yep.
Society always bombarding us.
And I guess there comes choice in again, right? We choose. What do we want?
I take it back to the rabbit and turtle. Right?
The tortoise.
Yeah, yeah. It's just thinking about all the sources of talking that come at us, like the rabbit.
Mm.
Mm.
I can remember when then I felt like I had to match that, like, to always be going like the
Mm.
rabbit, the hare.
Mm.
And that to slow things down, to listen, to engage, to be patient was a disadvantage. When in reality, it's that space to listen to it, to say, no, I don't have to listen to all of it. I don't have to be sucked in by all of it. But I can, with patience, can listen for what matters. And it's very little out there. Good morning, Kalis.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Do you
morning,
feel like
honey.
the tortoise or the hare today?
Tortoise.
Good. All right. Either answer was right. So
Okay. How about you?
I'm gonna go with the tortoise today too. So I spent enough as the
Nice.
hare, and there's a good lesson in that story. I enjoy my patience.
Nice. I'm
So
excited
it's
to oh, sorry.
continue, please.
I'm excited to go and take care of a cat for the weekend. I'm going to check in on a cat named Captain Crunch. And I found for the past like couple of years, since a friend of my dad's was giving me advice in the form of just telling me stories about his cat adapting to new situations, that I will maybe gain a little bit of my hair energy back just by like observing and trying to learn from this cat. I think something in between is okay.
Mm.
Animals teach us so much. We were also talking about cycles, Kaylee. About fast and slow, I would imagine would be the hare and the tortoise. And then Pascal was sharing about how he notices voices and which ones resonate for him and which ones don't. And so then Jessie was talking about that there's a craft in talking so that you communicate well. And at the same time, it needs listening. So we were just talking about how things go together and the cycles of things as well. How one thing needs another. And
I can,
the rhythm.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the,
just say.
the rhythm of cycles that are just outside of my awareness.
Mm.
So it's just like I'm pondering them, right? Just to see them and how I like what I can relate to is that sometimes in life, like it goes really well. Momentum is just building, 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 like it goes real fast. And then there's other times where it goes just real slow, or it's down, or it's gray, or it's dark. Hmm. We have both, and we're always in between. Well, it's like those cycles is what I was pondering this morning.
You know, it comes to me as a, sorry, Jess, go.
Good point.
Oh, sorry. When you were saying that, I was thinking again about the container that if you can build a container, you can get to see both.
Mm-hmm.
Like that rim outside of the spotlight. The advantage of having that. And remembering that you can go there.
Yeah, that's the mm, 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 mm. It's like can't think of a good analogy. I can notice that I would grip myself in one or the other.
Mm.
which then wouldn't allow me to see the other one.
Mm.
To even know it was a possibility. It was just,
Mm.
it's just one, and that's all I have.
Mm.
Realize no, those are just chemical reactions that are happening in my body
Mm.
that then I attach stories to. And usually those chemical reactions are probably patterns, cycles, and so are the stories. And they
Mm.
just happened so that I was unaware they were happening. Uh, so they just became stronger and stronger and stronger. That's like the rut can just get deeper and deeper for the times that we go through the mud.
What do you think it is that facilitated the awareness for you?
It wasn't working.
Okay, so it didn't work, but then what allowed you to, what was it that allowed you to begin to find out how to do it differently?
I don't know. Well, what I'll speak to is what I noticed in the difference.
Mm.
One way, the way I knew most of, right? This would be earlier, like my stuck in the mud patterns, was that I was trying to be someone else. I was fitting my view of how I should be in the world, what I should achieve in the world, what I should go for, how I should do it, who I should be. But I didn't realize that. I just did it. And in doing it, I didn't look for any other way to do it.
Mm.
It never occurred to me that I could do something else or do the same thing, but go about it a different way.
Mm. Mm. That's a big one for me.
Uh, here's a big one. It's okay to sit in a space of I don't know. And to sit in that space with willingness to sit there,
Mm.
to be there. And I don't mean sit as idled. I mean to be in a place of I don't know with willingness, patience, and acceptance.
Mm.
It's like to sit in I don't know in the biggest space of potential.
Mm. Mm.
Because the other place when we sit with I don't know is so constricted, so locked up, so one way. There's no space.
Mm.
That's the two differences.
Mm.
In my perspective.
Mm. I was just thinking in the willingness there's so much in that word, but the one or couple of things is willingness to receive and willingness to listen.
Yeah. Thank you. And a willingness to surrender.
Mm.
Like that, even as I say it today, there is like a stab of give upness, if that's a word, in that willingness to surrender. And it's just my background. It's just my training. It's just who I was.
Mm.
I was competitive for most of my life, which means I had to win, which means there was no surrender.
Mm.
I had to get to the top. There was no surrender. Then if there's no surrendering, there's no patience. If there's no patience, there's no acceptance. Just my view of my life. And it's like that's what I call awareness. We speak like aware of what do we make, what do we take personal?
Mm. That's when we close it, right?
Yeah.
Lock it in.
And questions open it. It's like, wow, why did I take that so personally? And like that's in the that can be in most of the time we think of a negative situation, like, oh, why did I get so angry or sad about that? But we can also look at the good ones and like, why did I get so excited about that? And all we're doing is just opening up so that we can receive more information, which only helps us become more aware, better understanding. And then that's what I speak to is opening space,
Mm.
flexible rather than rigid and
Mm.
tight.
Flexible, adaptable, and coherent.
Mhm. Yeah. Willingness is willingness. Is a big one.
Mm.
Meaning, big
I
one
really
is like
agree with
we can face it, see it, move through it, and when we can face it, we can easily run away from it. Willingness exists in both of them.
Mm.
I'm willing to run away from that. That's my pattern. Yeah. So there, like, yeah, that's willingness.
Don't you think willingness has got more intention though, Jess? And running
Doesn't
away
have
for me
to.
is more,
It doesn't. It's depends on how deep you want to take it. Yes.
okay.
Willingness is just even like it says on the surface is what do you do?
Mm.
And then deeper into awareness is yes, I'm I see willingness as a choice. Too often as people we don't see it as a choice.
Mm.
That's the willingness at the level of awareness, which means in the
Mm.
understanding of the word, which means embodiment of it. And now that I've listened to my words, I'm a better listener of other people's words. And I can tell how well they listen to their words.
Mm.
Now, it's not a batting average of 100.
Mm.
Doesn't need to be.
No, doesn't.
It is a degree of a degree of authenticity. Not the
I
quite
love
right
that.
word.
I was thinking of integrity.
Yeah, see, I'm willing to put all sorts of other words around it. It was a C word
Mhm.
but I couldn't, I had it and I lost it. Yeah, compassion. It's all sorts of, yeah, it really, like it, you can hear the intention in the voice if you're listening to it. There it is. That's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's like, I think of a couple of big ahas in my life, and it's like the willingness to surrender to I don't know is
Mm.
one of the big ones for me.
Mm.
And another one is aware of my fight to be right.
Mm.
Silly me. And it was all because I would look at things, really like look at words and phrases and how I oriented to them. Um, by exploring what I didn't like about them. Or what I didn't like about myself. Because that's what it was. It was like myself was attached to the word surrender, right? For example. Which meant I couldn't do it. So it was just how I grew up, meaning I oriented towards life,
Mm.
towards my situations, my circumstances. Funny, you know, it's so often we only look at one side of the word.
Mm.
You know, the meaning of the word. And then that meaning, we attach to the meaning with some charge, positive, negative, or neutral. So if you think of a word you have no understanding of its meaning, you are neutral with it.
Yeah, that's true.
A foreign language you don't understand? Yeah. You don't feel like you're neutral in that moment, but what they're saying is neutral.
Mm.
Mm. So you asked me the question earlier, Allison, like what was it? And it was like aware of my responses, aware of my reactions, and that I could take control, and control not in this typical sense of control, but that I could see them and then choose which way I wanted to respond. That was patience.
Mm.
And power.
Yeah. And peace.
Mm.
And it's over and over and over again confronting the uncomfortableness in myself,
Mm.
because it is myself that is making everything appear like it's out there.
Mm.
Which out there only triggers my chemical reactions in my body that tells me the things I listen to, the way I respond. Oh, that's just conditioned. We call it a habit, but a habit's usually we're aware of habits, but we don't have to be.
Mm.
So I like tendencies and automatics, become aware of my tendencies and my automatics.
Mm. I also like automatics.
I think there's all sorts of different words to explain it. You just got to find yours.
Mm-hmm. But also, what was interesting for me was that when I asked you that question, I'd asked myself, how did I get out?
Yes.
And my answer was connection.
Mhm.
It was a point of connection. And the connection was with the experience of meditating.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that
That,
was, sorry, it is.
go ahead, please. Sorry.
That was it brought me back to the importance of connecting and collaborating, the value of it. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Meditation was where I began to become aware of those automatics.
Mm,
Right? Because something would happen earlier, and then the meditation was a place to explore it,
mm,
discover it. It was that willingness. Like I didn't like, because it was always after the fact, right? Like it would happen, and then I would sit with mm, the I didn't like how that went.
mm, mm,
So rather than focusing on how it went, it was like, well, why did it go that way? What in me? What was I resisting? Because that was always what it came to, was like, what was I resisting in that moment?
mm,
And my tendency became, it's like, one, I wanted to be right. So I would fight to be right. And then I was so deathly afraid of saying, I don't know, of not knowing.
mm,
So it was like
mm,
those two things were my big cliffs.
mm.
So it had to the downs or the situations I didn't like had to happen for me to see the lessons.
Mm, mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's been like I was just thinking, it's like it's coming up on 4 years, like when I began, if you will.
And those lessons are painful, aren't they?
Mm,
I let them be, yes, I do. Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But they're still there. They're just not as charged.
mm,
It's funny, like they're almost inexistent with other people, but they're so present with my wife.
Uh,
And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like just she knows how to poke me like just the right way.
to get what she wants.
To be
Brilliant,
right.
isn't it? Isn't it?
To be right. Next time, like I'll be like, how does it feel to be right? See the response, eh?
mm.
Or, yes, you are always right.
That they don't like either.
No.
Yeah.
Well, our spouses are the closest to us, right?
Yep. Our patterns are entangled.
Mm-hmm.
and they sure go up and down as well.
Mhm. But that up and down also should, I use the word should, but purposefully, if it's the same up and down, then there's not much growth.
Yeah. And just thinking about the word for, and I can only think for myself, but then I can see like how others speak about it. And it's so often we think love just has to always be a positive.
Mm.
Yes, it is, but it's like in a marriage, like love includes the ups and the downs.
Mm.
It embraces both. Yet, I know my perspective of it didn't allow for the downs or the fights, right? It's like, oh, that can't be part of love. Right?
Mm.
You don't love me. You know, because Disney told us what it was all about and what it should be like. Beauty and the Beast on Pascal.
Mm.
Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, that's something I gotta catch on because like my wife she said like you don't know Disney stuff, and like I wasn't a guy that watched much cartoon when I was young, so I know a little bit here and there, but I'll know all of them.
Yeah. Just wait till Kai gets old enough that he can pick up your Amazon Prime and buy all the seasons of Power Rangers.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he's already taking the remote, and then like it's so funny because like he grabs the remote, and then like I put it into his little show, like Miss Rachel, and then he plays with the remote, and then like he get it all. Like I don't even know how he can find this stuff really. You know, like it's zoom here, and then like it focus there, and I'm like, well, how did you put everything on there? You know, and then he gives me the remote, right? And then
Fix
like,
it.
Dad,
Fix
fix
it.
it,
Yeah.
fix it. And then like, so I'm like taking like 5 minutes just to like think, right, to remove all this stuff. And then like he find the remote, I put it like a little bit higher and stuff, and then like he climbs the couch, and then like he grabs the remote, and then again like he's just like just playing with it, and then like he comes back to me and he's like, same thing. You know, like, oh my God. Like seriously.
I
Yeah.
wonder where our patterns come from, huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's a funny boy.
Mm.
Yesterday was like a birthday party. I think it was like 4 people had their birthday in the house where he goes to stay home. And so like he had to be dressed. We didn't have much costume, but like we put like a red shirt and a nice little hat and stuff. And then like, so I went to pick him up at the end of the day, and then like the day home lady was like, "Oh my God, he was so funny today." And she said, like, as soon as he put the hat on, it's like it was game on. He just started dancing like crazy. And there was other parents there, and then they were like, we couldn't stop laughing. Like, and then I told my wife about this, and she was like, that's not Kai at all. You know, he's kind of a little, he's not shy, but like he's a little shy, like if there's tons of people. And like she almost like, I don't believe you, you know? But maybe like in front of his parents, he wants to behave a certain way, but like we do, you know? And
Mhm.
when we're in the loose, like we're just like, just let it, right? And it's another behavior. Like you said, like at the day home, he never cries. You know, I always get along with everyone. Everything is good. And at home, like if he doesn't have what he wants, he just like, or get picked up, right? That's a big thing. I think it's because like he hasn't seen us all day.
Yeah.
Like he just want to get picked up,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
No, he just wants to be loved.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Feel that connection.
Yep.
yeah.
That he belongs. I mean, yeah.
Mm.
So because why is mom and dad leaving me every day with these strangers? Yeah,
Yeah,
we understand why he doesn't.
right.
He's going to make up his stories, his way of coping, his way of reacting, responding.
Yeah, and where
And
mom's going and where dad's going.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
take up all, and just think of all the stories that someone could make up about that, or feelings first, because he probably doesn't have the stories yet, but that's where the feelings begin. Then tie that to the circumstances, the surroundings, right? Because that is so much weaved into it as well.
Hmm. And funny enough, like before my dad passed, like what he says, like his only regret, he was like, I wish I would have been there more for you,
Hmm.
you know, because he was the only one working.
Mm.
And as a carpenter, like you start early and you finish late. So when he left, we were not awake. And when you get home, we were asleep,
Mm.
except for the weekend. And then the weekend, like, he had other stuff to do, right?
Mm.
But to me, like, I didn't realize it, right?
Mhm.
But it's in my subconscious that it was there.
Yeah.
And it's not because he didn't want to be with us. That's the thing,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You get caught up in that hamster wheel, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you all for a wonderful morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Have a
thank you,
great
guys.
day, guys.
Yeah, you
You
too.
too. Bye.
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 Yeah.